You've seen them everywhere, right? On social media, in fancy clinics, IV vitamin drips. They're a huge wellness trend. But what's the real science behind them? What's actually going on when someone gets a drip? Well, in this explainer, we're going to break it all down.
Okay, so let's start with a really basic question. A lot of us try to eat right, we take our daily vitamins, but if you ever stop to think, when you swallow that pill, how much of the good stuff inside does your body actually get to use?
To get to the bottom of that, we first have to understand a really key concept in how our bodies work. Think of it as a kind of absorption bottleneck.
Now, the official term for this is bioavailability. It sounds complicated, but all it really means is this. It's not just what you eat that counts. It's about what percentage of that food your body can successfully absorb and actually put to work in your cells.
Because, there's a whole lineup of things that can get in the way. If you have digestive issues, that's a big one. Even just getting older can change how well you absorb nutrients. And then there's your liver. It has to process everything in what's called a first-pass metabolism, which can filter a lot out. Heck, even different nutrients can compete with each other for absorption.
And this right here, this shows you the whole story. On the left, you've got all the nutrients you take in. But after they go on that long, tough journey through your gut, what's left for your body to actually use is, well, it's just a fraction of the original amount. And solving that problem, that gap, is what this is all about.
So, if our digestive system is this big traffic jam, how do you get around it? Well, this is where IV therapy proposes a pretty radical solution: an intravenous superhighway.
The concept is actually pretty straightforward. Instead of going through the gut, you just deliver the nutrients and fluids directly into the bloodstream. You completely bypass that whole digestive bottleneck. It's like taking an express elevator straight to the cells where everything is needed.
And here is the big selling point, the #1 advantage. You get 100% bioavailability. Nothing gets lost in digestion, nothing gets filtered out by the liver. What goes into the drip is exactly what your cells get to work with, right away.
And if you want to see just how big a deal this can be, get a load of this. Let's just take vitamin C, for example. When you take it orally, there's a limit to how much your body can absorb at one time. But with an IV, you can achieve levels in your blood that are up to 100 times higher. That's not just a little bit better, that's a whole different ballgame.
Okay, so with that kind of turbocharged delivery system, you have to wonder, what are people actually using this for? What are the supposed benefits?
One of the first things you always hear people talk about is energy, a big boost in energy. And that makes sense, because nutrients like B vitamins and magnesium are literally the fuel for our cellular engines. Delivering them directly means they can get to work making energy right away.
Then there's immune support. The idea here is to flood the system with high doses of things like vitamin C, zinc, and a powerful antioxidant called glutathione. You're basically sending reinforcements directly to your white blood cells, the soldiers of your immune system.
And of course, athletes have jumped all over this. By delivering things like amino acids, the building blocks of protein, and B vitamins straight into the system, the hope is to help speed up muscle repair and recovery after a really tough workout.
But look, it's not all about just wellness and performance. This is a really serious clinical tool. For people with conditions that make it hard to absorb nutrients, or after certain surgeries, this can be a total game changer. It's used to quickly fix deficiencies and support all kinds of health issues. And when you start talking about optimizing our cells for energy and recovery on this deep a level, you're not that far away from one of the biggest and most exciting frontiers in all of science, the biology of aging itself.
So a huge piece of the aging puzzle is an enzyme called telomerase. Here's the simple way to think about it. Your chromosomes have these little protective cabs on the ends, kind of like the plastic tips on a shoelace. They're called telomeres. As we get older, they tend to get shorter. Telomerase is the enzyme that helps protect them.
And this is where it gets really wild. Check out this number. One study found that a natural compound from a plant was able to boost the activity of this protective enzyme by 8.8 times. Now just imagine the possibilities. What if you could deliver powerful compounds like that with 100% bioavailability? We're talking about drawing a direct line between specific compounds and the fundamental machinery of how our cells age.
Okay, we've talked about all this amazing potential. But, and this is a huge but, we absolutely have to talk about the flip side of the coin, the very real risks and the major red flags.
Look, this is not something to be taken lightly at all. If it's not done in a completely sterile, professional way, there's a serious risk of infection. Pumping too much fluid into your body can strain your heart and kidneys. And yes, you can actually overdose on certain vitamins. It can be toxic.
And that brings us to what is, without a doubt, the single most important question you could possibly ask. Who is the person administering your IV? Is it a licensed medical professional, like a nurse or a doctor, in a proper clinical setting? Because getting this done at a spa or from some mobile service by someone who isn't properly trained can be incredibly dangerous.
So, let's zoom out for a second. We've got the incredible potential on one hand and the very serious risks on the other. Where is this whole trend actually heading? What's the bigger picture? What this all seems to be pointing towards is a big shift away from the old-school one-size-fits-all multivitamin. We're moving towards something way more personal, something called precision nutrition, where therapies are tailored exactly to your body's specific needs, your lab results, and your personal goals.
And technology, of course, is pushing this forward at lightning speed. We're already seeing artificial intelligence being used to analyze a person's data to create these highly customized, personalized IV formulas. It honestly sounds like something out of science fiction, but it is happening right now.
And that leaves us with this final, really fascinating thought to chew on. As we get better and better at bypassing our body's natural limits, and as we gain the ability to tailor nutrition with this kind of laser precision, are we looking at the next great evolution in how we manage our own health?